I call this one limit pushers. I have been quite absent from the community of IELTS candidates who have been looking for feedback on their essays. And as you can see, I've been very busy. I have a variety of interests, some of which involve putting on makeup in women's clothing and playing the ukulele. Not on a regular basis, but this week it has. It's just kind of a weird coincidence. So I started on something and then didn't finish it. So this is like 10 days old, 2 weeks old, but I might as well present this task 1. Right, I realized how very distracting that must have been. So we will skip that part. And hello. Okay, I called this because this person, whose name I can't remember, but she posted a bunch of essays, a bunch of reports, and I have this vague memory that her date of her test is the 14th. And today's the 15th. Now, the last person that last person I gave feedback to, whose essay, the last person who took the test before I gave them feedback on their essay ended up with an 8.5 in writing. So it's good luck if that happens to you. What do we got? What's task 1? And why do I title it this? Because hello? Why do you think task 1 is so hard? Because you're smart. If you thought it was simple, you'd be fooling yourself. It's not hard, but it's not as easy as people think. This person had... Hello? There it is. Zara Navid. That's the person's name. I find task 1 to be more difficult than task 2. Regis replied, oh, it does. Because 20 bloody minutes is simply not enough. Alright. Now, again, many students underestimate the complexity of task 1. And maybe that's why they're stuck at a 6.5. Maybe they're getting a 7 on their task 2 and getting a 6 in task 1. We don't know. And really, in my opinion, this is a big oversimplification. I wrote this 10 days ago, and maybe a week ago. I don't remember what I wrote, so this will be an adventure for me as well. Okay, the reason I turn on the Chrome is for the feature that you see at the bottom of the screen right now, which is immediate, real-time subtitles, which as an English language teacher, I think is really cool. I mean, if it can do this, if it can be taking my speech and converting it pretty accurately into text immediately as I'm saying it, why isn't there another little thing on the other end of that that speaks in your language? And well, that'll happen sooner or later. The coming of the Babelfish, for those of you who know Hitchhiker's Guide to the... And I'm ranting. This is not a talk show. This is a report on Zavel's task 1. Alright. And so it comes down to your overview. No 1 to 2 sentences in the whole IELTS test are as important as the 1 to 2 sentences in your task 1 overview. I'm not just being bombastic. Alright, what do we got here? Aha. This is a much cleaner version of the graph than what was provided on IELTS Tips and Tricks. This is a cleaner version of the task than what was provided on Facebook by the candidate. Don't post fuzzy images of hard to read books from your phone from like 5 feet away and think that, oh, someone can read it. If they try really hard, they'll be able to read my question. Not saying that this person's picture was that bad, but if you're going to ask for a review, take the extra steps and make it easy on us. Chart below shows the annual number of rentals and sales in various formats of films from a particular store between 2002 and 2011. A particular store. Okay. Then the next bit, summarize the information by selecting and reporting the main features and make comparisons where relevant. That's on every task one, and you need to know it by heart. Let's look, before we look at the student's essay, let's look at this graph. Okay, what do we got? We're going to click. And, first of all, number, annual, so per year of either rentals or sales. And, we got some comments. First thing I think of, because I'm kind of weird this way, is that a store, they must mean a chain of stores, not one store. It simply follows. It must be. Why? Because one store. Well, let's look at it this way. If you sell 500 things every day, at the end of a year, you will have sold 365 times 500 is 180,000. Oh, that's right what we're talking about. That's right here. And that's just one thing. So there's no way one store did 500 units. 500 every. If they're open 8 hours, no, if they're open 12 hours, no, if they're open 15 or 16. 500 divided by. I guess it's. Anyway, my mind goes to that. It probably shouldn't. That's a lot. Very busy store. St. Blockbuster. Or maybe it was back then. Okay, so I'm going to analyze this, and I see clearly that there's there's a big comparison that can be made, and the big comparison is between this line and this line. That's my major comparison. This stuff here, these little tiny bits, is secondary. Here's the first trend. Right? What is it? What does the question ask you to do? Select and report the main features or trends. Here's a main feature. Here's another main feature. DVD sales. Yeah. Okay. Here's a minor feature, but it exists. We have sales started here and continued. Here's another minor feature. Whoops. Big black cloud hanging over the. So, what you want to do, of course, is try to divide the information in half in a way that logically allows you to make comparisons. Because it does say right here, make comparisons. What are the requirements of Task 1? In the band descriptors, if you look at Task 1, all throughout, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, it talks about the requirements of the task. And the requirements of the task are the 4 verbs. Summarize. Select and report. Make comparisons. Those are the 4 verbs. That's what you got to do. Now, I would look at this a little bit differently. I would say that VHS sales started and then died. Blu-ray sales, or was it rentals, whatever, Blu-ray was born and began to live. And that is a comparison. Those two naturally go together. The other two are the mainstream, and they go together. So my overview would go like this. Overall, it can be seen in the chart that at the end of the 10 years, customers were taking home far fewer films than they had before. If you look at the overall trend, there is a decrease. Moreover, oh my God, did I write that? Wait a minute. Did I actually include moreover in a writing that I authored? And in a task 1? Have I lost my... Am I drunk? Moreover, the decade's up. Yes, okay. Now, here, moreover means more importantly. And the birth and death of something. You know, VHS rentals were what we grew up on. I could do a whole essay about that, but it is more important. Let's look at how our candidate wrote. The chart illustrates the yearly sales of various film formats for a store from 2002 till 2011. Yes, very good. The beginning, yearly, good paraphrase for annual, good things get underlined. Various film formats. These are the same words that are in the question. So, not a good job paraphrasing there. For a store. In general. You know, I mean, if you're looking for a way to begin your overview, you don't get points for originality. You can only lose them. I don't see any reason not to start your overview with overall. It's one word. It's different than starting an essay with nowadays. It has a function. It's to the point. But in general, no. I mean, look, I don't want to react to... Let's react to the whole, right? Okay. In general, film rentals and DVD fell over the course of 10 years. No. VHS sales did not fall over the course of 10 years. It fell over the course of 4 years. And then completely disappeared. So that's not accurate. While Blu-ray sales were a relatively late arrival to the scene, you have good collocation. That's a good turn of phrase. Save it for the IELTS speaking task. It's far too informal for IELTS writing. Informal. They rose consistently. While they were late, they rose consistently. They rose consistently. That's good vocabulary, good grammar, and continue to do so. How about they? Consistently and continuously rose. Moreover, oh my God, never use moreover in a paragraph. No. Don't use moreover. Moreover is wrong. Let's see. Is the second part more important than the first part? We can see that there was an overall... Yes, okay, good. Yes, it was an overall drop. Yeah. Good. That's the big trend. Here's the thing, though. It took you 57 words to write that. That's 1/3 of your whole essay on the overview, which should only be a couple of paragraphs, a couple of sentences. It is a couple of sentences, but you had to include while and moreover. All right, your body paragraphs. Okay, so let's go back. Ideally, when you do your overview, the structure of the sentences here should mirror the structure of the body paragraphs that follow. By that I mean whatever you say first should come first, and second come second. Let's see if you do that. Okay. In general, over the... Oh, wait a minute. Wait, did I read the wrong word? Okay. Uh-huh. Yes. Right. No. Share. The wrong button. Where was I? Oh, yeah. Okay. Film rentals were ruling the roost in 2002. Once again, far too informal. Far outstripping VHS and DVD. No. You can outstrip a resource. You can outstrip is a negative thing. It's not winning. Outstripping means destroying. They, bit unclear on the referencing here. You mentioned film rentals, VHS, and DVD, all of which are plural nouns or uncountable nouns, and all of which could be they. So it's not really all that clear who they are. They, however, started to plummet. Now that's a contradiction in terms. You can't start to plummet. You just plummet. Plummeting is not something that occurs over time. Plummeting happens immediately and quickly and sharply. Plummet is what happens when you fall off of a cliff. Okay, when you plummeting in the real world means falling in free air in without anything preventing you from falling, and you can't start to plummet. You just plummet. And we're at their lowest in 2001. Ha. This little typo, it's a typo, I know it is. Obviously, you can read the chart well enough to see that they were at their lowest in 2011. And you wrote 2001. I know it was a mistake. I mean, I know that you don't think that. But, wow, what a costly typo. VHS sales till they showed a complete demise in 2005. This is the second time you've used the word till. And yes, it means the same thing as until. But again, it's somewhat informal, and you're repeating yourself. And again, yeah, it's not academic to use the word till. They showed a complete demise. Complete demise. It's a judgmental word. The demise, as if it was their own fault. VHS tapes, how dare they be larger and less convenient to fast forward and rewind than DVDs are. That was their demise. Yeah, it doesn't mean the same thing as stop being made. I mean, I know to be discontinued is not a demise. DVD sales rose, no transition between the two paragraphs, none. Rose across the years. Outrunning. Once again, not an appropriate verb for surpassing. Outrunning rentals. Let's do that more. Peaking in 2007 and then falling till 2011. They were slowly replaced by sales of Blu-ray films. That's not on the chart. You can say that the slow and minor increase in Blu-ray sales corresponded with, but you can't say that DVD sales were replaced by Blu-ray sales. You're making a conclusion, which started in 2007, and we're still rising in the last year mapped by this chart. It's not a chart. Is it? Well, anyway, it is something that you should have stopped talking about in the first sentence. We're not doing a report on a chart. We're doing a report on a bit of historical reality. I don't like it when chart and graph and diagram show up in the later parts of the report. You're talking about reality, not a diagram anymore after the first paragraph. Okay. Did I wash off all my makeup? I don't know. I got new equipment too. See this? I wonder if I'll get the score I need when I take the IELTS. Please, please help me.